All right then, morning. Okay, so let's start. Be consistent. Same way we always do. You find a block or a cushion, something comfortable to sit yourself on, and try to get comfortable, you know, cross your legs, however you like to sit. And then, you know, typically it sort of makes sense just to take the shoulders back, or just to roll the shoulders back. That tends to be quite a nice movement anyway, first thing in the morning. So draw the shoulders back, and then see if you can get the feeling of the shoulder blades. They should sit on the back of the rib cage, and maybe you can get this feeling of the shoulder blades just rolling down the back. It's quite a soft, quite a subtle action, but maybe you feel that, and as you feel the shoulder blades drop, opposing that, or in balance to that, maybe you feel the heart lift, or the heart space. The heart space referring to really the center of the chest, just above the sternum. So the shoulders are drawn back, the arms are relaxed, the heart is slightly lifted, the eyes closed, the face relaxes. And then use these few moments just to sort of build awareness. So just start to notice the breath. Personally, I've had a sort of chaotic morning. From about 5:30 onwards, there's been stuff going on. So I feel like I'm just going to value this couple of minutes, the time to pause. But on the other side of that, bear in mind we're always looking for balance. I might describe my morning as being very busy and rushing around. And what I want to do right now is just to sort of take that down a little bit, sort of draw down that sort of busyness. But on the other side of that, you know, if you just sort of rolled out of bed, and there's no shame here in that, I wish. If you just rolled out of bed, maybe you're feeling a little bit heavy and a little bit sort of sleepy. In which case, maybe this couple of minutes is to sort of get the breath moving. In a sense, you're sort of getting the oxygen, the blood pumping around the body. So you'd be a little bit more interested in sort of an energizing inhale breath. And so you become aware of your state. And then we try to use the breath quite skillfully to arrive at this point where we're sort of awake. And we're tuned in, but we're not hyper. It can get confused, but we would like to be in a fairly relaxed state, but without being this kind of heavy sleepiness. We want to be bright and attentive and aware. We don't want to be bouncing off the walls. Find that center, balance point. And be there, get to that point. And you let the breath flow. And underneath all of that, maybe there's a danger that we're overthinking. If you're not sure, just let the breath be natural. Okay, if you will, a single chant of Om. Your hands at this heart center, this heart space. Take a nice breath in. Okay. And very slowly relax your arms and open your eyes. Okay, now before we go any further with this, I'm going to have to level with you here. It's a milestone birthday in our house this morning. Not mine, but a member of the family. And it's chaotic. We've already had the front of the house decorated by some neighbours at 6 in the morning. We've had 3 deliveries already through the door. It feels like real live TV. Anything could happen. So usually I can control this environment, but to be totally honest with you, I don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. So hopefully we're all clear, but just so you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I can do the practice bit, but the rest of it is totally beyond my control. But, hopefully it's not too bad. So anyway, with this seated posture, while we're here, just a couple of simple movements for the spine, just to try to start to walk, start to wake things up. We're going to stretch up long. So the arms reach up by the ears, biceps by the ears. Try to take the elbows straight, fingertips reaching up. You're stretching, maybe you feel it around the sides of the rib cage. And then that's good to get the inhale breath to try to fill this space as well. So when you sort of making the space by reaching up, you try to breathe into it too, and really open up the sides of the ribs. And as you're stretching up, you want to press down as well through the hips. So you're working in 2 directions. You're reaching up, you're pressing down, and maybe you feel the waist also lengthen a little bit. And to me, typically, I just start to shift a little bit side to side, work into one side and then the other. And then this plays a little bit into the lower back as well, the 2 sides of the lower back. So I'm reaching up, my arms are really, really active, really strong. But the breath is quite steady still. I'm going to stretch up and lengthen the waist and lift the ribs. Oh, okay. And then exhale, I release all of that. And while I've released the arms and the shoulders, hopefully I've maintained the posture. And as usual, a little twist just to get in. So left hand comes across outside the right leg, right thigh. Right fingertips give you support as you sit up. And then exhale to twist. And then the same pattern of movement. Inhale, press down the hips, lift up the chest, lift up the heart. Exhale, try to twist a touch deeper. Use the arms. Turn the head. Make sure the neck is comfortable, don't overreach. And then come back through center. On an inhale, switch the arms. And then use the exhale to twist. And all of these movements in the practice where we're moving around the trunk and the abdomen, it's particularly important that we don't practice yoga on a full stomach. So hopefully you've not had any breakfast yet. But all of these movements, if you have got food in here, it can be a little bit nauseating. So it's important that you practice on an empty stomach. That's why first thing in the morning can be quite pleasant. Because, you can typically go without food for an hour in the morning. Anyway, after twisting other side, that's great. Come back up. I'll tell you what, one more time, we'll just stretch up. This time I want you to hook the thumbs, reach up, and then we'll just add in a little bit more detail, sort of the front and the back of the body. So I want you to feel like the shoulder blades, those shoulder blades that are pinned onto the back of the ribs, they're going to try to push forwards. And your heart's going to try to lift up, okay? So try to get that action shoulder blades, upper back is lifting forwards, and then the chest is lifting up. And maybe you feel a little bit of work happening in the lower back. You stretch up through the arms, shoulder blades forwards, heart lift, arms reach. Good, good, good. Okay, and then exhale again. And let that one go. Okay, enough then. Come up to stand. Come up to stand and we'll do what we usually do. Couple or 3 sets of chair poses, Utkatasana, and then the forward bend, standing forward bend, Uttanasana. So there's only 1 letter difference, but the feeling is very different. So for Utkatasana, Utkatasana sort of translates as, well, the translation I like, it translates as awkward pose, which is very apt, isn't it? Okay, feet pointing forwards, thighs parallel, arms parallel, shoulders soft, inhale, exhale. Bend the knees, weight in the heels. So sometimes I lift the toes up, get the feeling of all the weight shifting back, weight in the hips, weight in the heels, and then rather than leaning the chest forwards, we try to sit up and reach. And you hold 3 breaths. 2. Yeah, good. And then 1. Okay, forward bending then. We don't need to straighten the legs fully. We tip forwards. Hands can be out in front a bit, fingertips down, and then just start to move around. And this is where the practice really becomes your own. You start to notice, well, where is my body? What do I need to be doing? And for me, okay, I've done some yoga this morning already, so the back of the legs feels okay, but sides of the lower back feel quite stiff. So I'm just going to try to work that by just moving the hips around, side to side. You find your own way with it. Fingertips, palms down, maybe releasing the head if you wish. And then coming to the last exhale, we do the second round of Utkatasana, the awkward pose. So sometimes called the powerful pose. But I'm not there yet. To me, it's still awkward. Okay, weight in the heels, drop the hips, lift the chest, soften the elbow, and soften the shoulders. Eyes looking forwards and hold. Strengthen the legs. 3. Stay with it. 2. Good. And then 1. Exhale. Tilt forwards. Again, bending the knees is fine. Let's try to prioritize the spine lengthening down. The arms just there for support, for balance. You push through the feet. You push through the feet to lift the hips. And you try to tilt slightly forwards to allow the upper body to come down. And you find out where you can get to. You find out where the tension is. Or where the weakness is, you might refer to it as. Find out where we need to work. Just take 1 more exhale here. And then we go the 3rd time, final time. The strongest, hopefully. Drop the hips, stay strong, and lift. Here, or some of you are up here, reaching through the fingertips again. Pull the lower belly in, drop the tailbone down, very active legs. Stay with it for 5 this time. Last 4, push the feet into the mat. 3, sit down for 2, and then exhale. Whoa. Feel the release in the thighs, and then lengthen through the back of the body. Stay for a couple of breaths. Nourishing deep breaths, really full inhales, really long exhales. Take your time. And then hands on your hips. Again, you can bend the knees on the way up. And then we're up to standing. Okay, for Trikonasana then. Again, same thing as last few times. Feet a little bit apart. Right toes turning out. So we've got this 90-degree angle with the feet and the thighs, roughly speaking. Take the arms up, lift the ribs, lengthen the waist up. And then exhaling, we can bend into the right knee, tilt at the hips, tilt the upper body over. Right hand draws down the leg towards the ankle or the foot. Left arm reaches up. Once you're balanced, once you're secure and steady with the legs, see if you can look up at your left thumb. Press your feet down, lift the chest up. Try to work the arms and the shoulders to turn a little bit like you're turning more side on. Or if you like, more like you're trying to lift your heart up. Take one more inhale breath, reach up through left fingertips. And then exhale. Look down, bend the knee, make it easy to come up. And then switch the feet and take your time. So set the legs very firm. Inhale. Long in the waist. And then lean over this left leg. Do what you need to do. Tilt, turn. Place the hand wherever you are and reach up. Make sure the breath is that pulsing, consistent. It stops you getting stuck. It keeps the pose alive, keeps it moving. Okay, one more inhale here. Press the feet, lift the heart. And then look down, take your time, up. Okay, and then feet together. So, take a stance at the top of the mat, and we'll start to sort of move with these little sequences that we have, these yoga flow or yoga vinyasa or whatever we're going to call it. Yoga movement with breath. So feet are together, big toes are touching, slightly firm the thighs, slightly drawing the lower abdomen and lift the heart. Once you've got this nice tall posture, take the arms up. If the neck allows it, look up at the thumbs. Stretch up through the fingertips, look up towards the thumbs, but be rooted down through the feet, and then bow forwards. Bend the knees, come down. Fingertips, palms down ideally if we can, and release the back of the neck if you wish. Inhale then, up on fingertips, thighs back, lift chin, shoulders back. Exhale, step your right foot back. Drop your back knee down. Release the toes, release or sink the hips forwards. And then let's just go straight into it today. So we're firm. This front foot carries a lot of weight, there's a lot of work. This leg is really stable. And then when you're ready for it, you take the arms up. Reach up through the fingertips, draw down, drop down through the hips. Shoulder blades moving forwards. Heart lifting up, arms possibly reaching back, and then exhaling, coming down, hands frame the front foot, back toes tuck, and then we try to lean forwards and press into the hands so that you can free the left foot and step back into plank pose. Now today we're going to hold here, 5 breaths. We're going to be strong. You're going to keep your weight moving forwards, but have your heels pressing back. Weight forwards, heels back. Push your hands into the mat. 3 breaths to go. Stay strong. 2. Okay. Exhaling then. We all need to drop the knees down. Whew. And then we're going to spin the arms so the elbows or the elbow creases are slightly forwards. And then bend the elbows back and try to lower down to the mat. Exhale. Roll up into cobra pose. Inhale. And then tuck back for downward facing dog. Exhale. Not long here, just a couple of breaths. We can start with knees bent. We can play around with the legs. Some of you already starting to press the heels towards the mat and pressing the thighs towards the back of the room. And then when we're ready for it, step the right foot between the hands. Back knee down, take your time. And again, straight away when you're ready for it. Very strong front leg. Use that to stabilize everything. And you're free in the upper body. Chest, shoulders, arms, everything lifts. And it's free to move. You reach the arms back, press the shoulder blades forward. And keep breathing. And then on your next exhale, same thing. Release down. Now, slightly differently now. So instead of stepping back, we're going to step forwards. But try to have control in this action. So your front foot, your fingertips give you balance, as does your core, by the way, as you step left foot to join your right. And we add in the inhale. We add in the forward bend exhale. You come all the way up to stand on an inhale breath. But as you come up to stand, let's just take the arms up too. Arms up above the head. Reaching up, looking up. And then exhale, you can release down. Okay, second side. Same thing. Rooted down through the feet. So you're not just standing, you're actively pressing down. The balls of the big toe, press them down and reach up. Exhale, bow forwards. Repeating movements. Getting very skilled. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, left foot back this time. Okay, left foot back, and then I like to add in a little bit of side stretching here. So with the left foot back, right hand can just be on your thigh, and the left arm reaches up, and then over. And bear in mind, you're building on what you did first time around. So we would like the hips forwards. We would like this front leg very solid. And again, we'd like the freedom in the upper body to stretch and to lengthen. Shoulder blades are still pressing forwards, and the heart is still lifting up. Right hand rests on your thigh, or some of you fingertips down towards your, just next to your right hip. Get a good side stretch in, and then up. Inhale, hands down, exhale. Frame your foot, lift and lean forwards, so there's space to step back. And again, another 5 breaths in plank pose. Or maybe it feels really heavy on the arms and the shoulders. Well, they have to do some work. But for longevity here, we also can't just rely on the shoulders. You have to recruit the core. You have to recruit the thighs. They are big muscles that need to do their work, need to do their job. So make sure your lower abdomen, your core, just below the navel, is drawing up into your lower back. To make sure the thighs are switched on, that's the cue to press the heels back. But keep the weight forwards. And then on your next exhale, you can drop the knees again if you wish. Or you can just think about keeping the body and the legs in one very straight line. And then spinning the elbows slightly forwards and just lowering down. So you bend the elbows, but you have that control as you come down. It's a little bit trickier. It's quite a lot stronger. Okay. Little cobra pose, little back bend on an inhale, and then back into downward facing dog on the exhale. Now, once again, we're not going to stay here. Just a breath or two to stretch long. Whether the heels are down or not, use the arms. Push into your hands. Push into the heels of your hands. Push into the bases of all the fingers. The base of the thumb, the base of the index finger especially. And then when we're ready for it, a big step forwards with the left foot. Back knee down. And then we find this nice big side stretching pose again. So you see the hips coming forwards as much as we can. And then there's no leaning forwards. We're upright. Right arm reaches up, and then we lean over. Left hand can be here, or it can come down towards the mat. And you reach through the fingertips. Nice big side stretch, all the way through sort of the pit of the belly, right where the sort of front of the hips are, the front of the pelvis. All the way through there, all the way through the right side of the body. and then your inhale up and exhale down. Okay, now same thing again, stepping to the top of the mat. It's just about the control. So you can take a little momentum back, sort of shift back a little bit, and then see if you can just have great control as the right foot comes up to meet the left. The feet together. The inhale is a lifting and a lengthening, and the exhale is your forward bend. And then come all the way up to stand. So push through the feet, lift through the heart, take the arms up, and then exhale. Okay, we do another little sequence and a little bit more work in this one. I kind of hope I've got enough room in my little space here to show you all of it. But then again, it'll kind of suit me just to take a little break halfway through this one as well. So either way, I'll be fine. You don't worry about me, I'll be okay. So same thing again, feet together, take it up, inhale, bow forwards, exhale. Inhale then, up on fingertips and lift your chin. Exhale. You can either walk or jump back into our plank pose that we've just been in. So bend the knees, weight into the hands, and if you're jumping, do so lightly. So with landing plank, we won't stay, just an inhale, and then drop the knees or not, as you wish. You get your little back bend in cobra. For some of you, maybe upward facing dog, shoulders down, shoulder blades forward, heart lifting, downward facing dog, exhale. Straight away then, from downward facing dog, right foot between the hands. And this is high lunge pose, so you keep your back knee off the mat. Again, this front foot, this front leg needs to be really stable and secure. This is holding everything together. The back leg is a little bit freer. So you find your balance, you try to sink the hips forwards, bend the front knee, and then take the arms up. Biceps again around the ears, arms quite straight, shoulder blades moving forwards, heart lifting. And you breathe for 3, 2, and 1. And then what we're going to do, I'll demonstrate with my hands here. We're going to pivot or tilt from the hips. We're going to come about 45 degrees forwards. Okay, so there's a little bit more weight on the front leg. This thigh needs to be really strong. And then we reach the arms forwards. Now, what tends to happen is everything collapses down. So lift the chest more, reach the arms more. Reach through the fingertips, press back through the back heel. Stay very stable in your abdomen. 3. This is really stretching the back of the body out. 2. And then when we're ready for it, listen carefully. Left hand next to your right foot. Don't lose the power in the back leg. Keep the right knee forwards. Turn the chest towards the right side and reach the right arm up. 3 breaths in your twist. Keep the back thigh rock solid and lifting. Keep the front knee forwards and in. 2. And exhale. Lean forwards, press into the hands, step back into plank pose. You take an inhale breath here, and then we've got all the options. Knees down or not, lowering all the way down or not. Your inhale is a little back bend, and the exhale is your downward facing dog. Now then, let's not overthink. Let's not overthink how painful the thighs are. Let's just keep going. Left foot steps between the hands. Take your time, of course. Have control. We work into the front leg, make it strong. Upright posture, arms lift up when you're ready. Work the legs. 3. Shoulder blades forwards, lift your heart. Open up the shoulders, top of the back. 2, and then 1, the tricky one, coming all the way forwards. You see, I'm trying to make a straight line all the way from my back heel, all the way up the back of the body to the thumbs. I'm trying to find that. That straight line was stretching the back of the body open. 2, sort of pulling the lower back in 2 ways. I've lost the count. Let's say that's 1, because I've had enough. Right hand down. Left knee stays forward, so don't let the hips lift up and back. Stay in it. Left knee forwards, hips low, but back leg lifting up and then twisting. 3 breaths. 2. And then exhale, come down. 3, lift, and then step into plank pose. Take an inhale here, and then up to you to lower the knees or not. Upward facing dog. Back bending. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Okay, come down onto your knees. Sit down onto your heels. Interlace the fingers behind your back. So you're going to pull the shoulders back. Pull the hands down towards the mat. And you get really broad across the collarbones and the chest. Stay here. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Now try not to have the shoulders lifting up towards your ears. Similar to what I've talked about already, try to have the shoulder blades drawing down the back. Shoulder blades down the back, heart lifting. Squeeze the palms together if you can. And then release. And the shoulders a little shrug. Okay, sort of opposite end to that. Reaching the arms forwards. So the palms are facing in, the arms reach forwards, and you try to get the shoulders now to move way forwards. So you're reaching as far forwards as you can, and then you're going to slightly press between the shoulder blades, you're going to slightly press that back. Okay? So we're trying to get this nice big rounding of the upper back. So instead of squeezing the shoulder blades and drawing them down, now we're going to try to widen the shoulder blades and draw them down. So this slight rounding of the back, hopefully you can see that from, if you can see me. This is like stretching across the top of the back, reaching the fingertips forward, breathing. Okay, good. And then release that. And then we're going to do something similar to that, and it's going to be a little bit of core work as well. So that you've just done, that action in the arms, you're going to do the same thing. So you're starting from your hands and knees. You press the hands down to get that slight rounding of the upper back. And then you're just going to lift your knees off the mat. Okay, it's as simple as that. You're going to lift your knees about 2 inches off the mat. I'm going to hold in there. So press the hands, get that rounding of the upper back. Press the hands and just hold. You stay for 10. Do your best. The thighs will be strong, the arms will be strong. Last 8. Lower belly in. Keep pushing, keep the rounding for 6. 5. Halfway already. Stay with it for 4. 3. 2. Good. Knees down. Sit down onto your heels. The arms a little shake. Okay. One more set. Exactly the same thing. Hands down underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers. Tuck the toes under. Push. So don't collapse the chest down. Push. And then lift. And then if you want to make this really tricky this time, you just flick one toes off. And you alternate. So let's say that's 8. 7. Keep pushing. 6. 5. So switch feet if you're doing that. Otherwise, just stay strong. 4, maybe the shoulders are really sore. Maybe the thighs are strong. 2, hold, hold, hold. And then 1. Come down. Keep the arms in a little shake. Whew. Okay. Now, there's a certain amount of postures here that we've relied on the thighs, the quadriceps being really strong, really tight. I'm going to take a posture now to try and just sort of stretch them out a little bit. One of my favorites, this is called the lizard pose. And for this one, a block can be really useful. Also know that you're going to be on, well, for the first side, you're going to be on your left knee for a little while. So if you want to place a cushion under there, that might be really useful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my left knee towards the back of the mat and my right foot towards the top right corner. Okay, so usually it's more in the center. For this pose, it's a little bit more out to the side. So I'm here. You see my hips are over the top of my left knee for now, but what I'm going to do over time is a little bit like the lunge posing. I'm going to try to take the hips forwards. And using the arms for balance and to sort of carry the weight a little bit, I'm going to see where I can get to with that. Now, if it feels really tight in the hips, one thing you can do is the right toes are currently pointing straight forwards. You can turn them out to the side about 45 degrees. That's okay. But if you can do without that, keep the foot forwards. Now, as the hips start to sink forwards, you feel the stretch in the back thigh and maybe through the inside of the right leg. We see if we can get comfortable. So you can stay on your hands if that's comfortable. For other people, it's more comfortable to come down onto the elbows. So you try one elbow and then the other. Hands can come together, or you can hold the block. You can rest your head on the block. Or of course, you can rest your elbows on a block. And this is where we are for a couple of minutes. So whatever the setup is then, whatever you're up to, just settle down into it. Notice, of course you notice that some parts of the body are being worked, or there's some discomfort in the hips, the inner legs, wherever it is. You notice that. That's part of it. You think of that as like this tension, or this unnecessary tightness, or this unhelpful tightness that we have in the body. And we're just trying to sort of tease it apart. We're just trying to encourage it to release, or to soften is the word I like. And so even though the body might be in a little bit of distress, we want to give it the feedback or the signals to relax. That comes from the breath. You're here and you're trying to sort of cultivate steady, smooth exhale breath. Just about 2 or 3 more breaths to go. Okay. And then you slowly start to bring your way out. So one hand, the other hand. And then what we can do is we can just slide the right foot back. So the knees are together, you sit yourself down for a moment. And just take a couple of breaths there. And of course, we straight away notice what's happened in the body, or what was restrictive in the body, what felt uncomfortable. Take a moment just to check what's going on upstairs in the brain. That kind of posture can really throw up quite a lot of negativity. It certainly did for me for a long time. So frustration, frustration with my body, that it was awkward and uncomfortable to do them. Frustration, a little bit of anger maybe, all those things that you feel like there's no place for in a yoga practice, but actually you're kind of digging that out and becoming aware of these little triggers. Let's see how we do the other side. So if you've got a cushion, it goes underneath the right knee, and then you're going to just step, however you get there, the left foot towards the top edge of the, or top corner of the mat. And then hips, if they're towards the back, they need to come forwards. Wherever you find you can get to. And again, the front foot can slightly rotate out if you like. A little bit more space in the front of the hips if you do that. So we're either up on hands, we're using the block, or you're coming down onto your elbows. And actually, for some of you that might be pretty flexible, shall we say, one other option for the block is actually to place it underneath your foot, place it underneath your front foot. Now, for some of you, this might seem a little bit far-fetched, but for others of you, this feels quite nice. The block is right underneath the foot, the elbows are down. And you breathe in here. Same thing. Find your place. And this is a place where there's quite a deep stretch going on. It's really there. But it's not so much that you're overdoing it that you can't breathe. So find that space. And just dwell in it. Just be there. Stay with it, a few more breaths. Nice and quiet, nice and still. Couple more breaths, that's it, nearly there. Start to think about time to come out. And then have that control. Of course, there's a big part of you that wants to kind of race out of these kind of postures, these positions, but take your time. Step back, sit down onto your heels. Take a couple of deep breaths, just relax. And the good news is, once you get very comfortable with that particular posture and a couple of other seated postures, you are well on your way then to doing the splits, the front to back splits. So there's something to achieve during lockdown, isn't it? And learn how to do the split. You don't necessarily need to be able to do it, you just can say that I learned how to do it. People won't be able to pick up that subtle difference. You just say, I learned how to do the split. Can't show you now. Okay, so you can see me, I've turned side on, wide-legged seated posture. Now this one can be a pain. If we're tight in the hamstrings or the lower back, we start to collapse back here and round. You feel like, oh dear. So again, sit up on your block, sit up on a cushion if you like. Sit up so you can feel like you're not moving back. So that at the very least, you're lifting up. You can use your hands behind you if that helps. So we could be here. Using your hands behind you just to encourage. What you're really encouraging is the pelvis to tilt forward. Thighs are strong, and you lift up here. Press the thighs down and lift the chest. So it's the same action. It's like the shoulder blades coming forward and the chest lifting up. You've just got the arms for support. For some of you, we're going to ditch the arms. We don't really need them. So we're going to be able to hold this strong through a combination of the thighs pressing down and the lower abdomen in. So the legs, the lowers are working, and then the uppers and stretch up. So whatever you need to do, if you need the hands, keep the hands. If you don't need the hands, reach them up. Stretch up long, and then we're just going to add in a little twist. So I'm going to turn. Let me show you this way. Excuse me. So I'm going to stretch up long, and I'm going to turn towards the right leg and see if I can reach my arms towards my right foot. I don't know if my right foot's on camera there. I haven't really thought. Okay, and if you're using your hands behind you for support, then your right hand can stay, and you just reach your left hand towards in a knee, in a calf, maybe you reach your big toe. And you're going to try to turn, whatever you're doing with your hands, you're going to try to turn the trunk, turn the upper body towards your right thigh. You sit up tall here. So again, at least we're trying to sit up. At best, some of you are going to start to bow forward. The forehead or the chin down towards the right leg. Press the thighs down. So don't lose that energy in the legs. Keep pressing down, lengthening the spine forward. Okay, after a couple of breaths there, we'll come up, we'll stretch up, we're here, and then we'll just rotate towards the other side. So I can keep my left hand for balance, that's fine. Reach my right arm, wherever I can get to. And then I'm going to work to sit up tall. Bear in mind that sitting up tall also comes from pressing down. And then if possible, I'm going to start to come forward. If that's too much, I'm going to stay up and lengthen out of the waist, lengthen the ribs up. Little forward bend with a slight twist. And then you're up and release. Okay, second one here. Baddha Konasana. So we bring the feet in close. Now, how close you can get them towards the hips, you're going to have to take a little bit of care with the knees here. So if you're creaky knees or weak knees, play it safe, have the feet a little bit further apart. A little bit further away from the hips. But for some of you, you bring them quite close in. This is another posture where sitting on the block can be really useful. It saves this feeling of falling back. And you can do the same thing. You can have the hands behind you and lifting up through the front. So this is a good starting point. So whether you're sitting on a block or not, your hands behind your legs, and you're trying to press the shoulder blades forward and lift the chest up. And then what you can't see happening, but what is quite strong, is the way I've done my feet is I've sort of opened them out like they always say like a book, okay? So actually the soles of my feet are not exactly pointing together. It's more like the soles of the feet are pointing up. And so with the soles of the feet pointing up, it's the outer edges of my feet. So the little toe edge of the feet, those two edges are pressing together. And as I press my feet together, I encourage my knees to move to the side. So what you might feel like is you want your knees to go down. But what you actually want is your knees to move out. You want the knees to move out to the sides to allow this inner thigh, inner leg, groin area to get a good stretch. And once we release the tension in here, then it happens. The knees drop. But the action is to press out. Press the knees out, press the hips and the shoulder blades forward. We won't worry about folding forwards here. Just sitting up and using the feet. Okay. And you can release that a touch. You can bring your knees back in. And then we'll start to shift towards, we'll sort of shift gears, if you like, into a little bit of back bending. So we're going to work the back of the body pretty strong. And then I'll also put in a couple of back bends that are more about the flexibility and the nice opening of the back. But we'll do the strength work first. So as usual for these postures then, you lie down onto your front. Lie down onto your front. Place the hands not under your shoulders, a little bit further back. So they're more like your hands are more in line with your lower ribs or your waist. Make sure you can press the heel of the hand down. And then what you're trying to do is get the shoulders to move away from the mat. So the shoulders move to the back of the body. Maybe the shoulder blades squeeze in a little bit. And then the same thing, the shoulder blades move down the rib cage, down the back. And as you press the shoulders back, maybe you feel the heart lifting. Lift the heart. Take the chest and the chin off the mat, elbows in. And your hand is doing that. It's like it's trying to pull back. The hands are pulling back, the shoulders are pulling back, the chest is moving forward. Some of you take the thighs or the feet off the mat. Squeeze the lower back. 3. Thighs up, thighs off the mat if you can. 2. And then down, exhale. Chin on the mat. Let's not rest. Let's keep going. Interlace the fingers behind your back. You've done it already. This. Shoulder blades together. Shoulder blades move down the back. And the same thing. As you pull the shoulder blades down, the chest lifts up. Hands come away from the hips. And you lift the legs. If you can. Chest forwards, hands reaching back. Hold. 3. 2. And 1, come down. And then we won't rest. You see if you can bend your knees and grab your feet. If you can't grab your feet, just do exactly the same thing we did. Interlace the fingers behind the back. But if you can grab your feet, grab your feet. Now to grab the feet, maybe you have to take them wide, which is fine. But once you've got hold of them, bring the feet and the thighs parallel. Okay, press the hips down, shoulder blades back, shoulder blades down the back, and allow the heart to lift. Now you can start with your thighs heavy on the mat. For some of you, legs up, thighs up. Reach through the feet. Kick through the legs. Hold for 3. 2. And come down. Okay, let's take a moment. Turn your head to the side. Relax your legs, relax your arms. And then come up onto your elbows. So onto your elbows, they're underneath the shoulders. We did this last week, I believe. You can have your elbows slightly further forwards, a slightly shallower back bend. But elbows under the shoulders tends to be not too bad. Okay, we're here. Pulling the lower belly up into the lower back. So that's important that this is toned. And then you can stay here if you like. If this feels nice, not too nice, but if this feels enough, you stay here. Otherwise, turn the arms out about 45 degrees. And then lift one elbow up and lift the other elbow up. Now, like I've described in plank pose, when you're lowering down, try to spin the arms out so the elbow creases point forwards. And then once the elbow creases point forwards, draw the shoulder blades down the rib cage, down the back. And then you'll feel this pressure in the lower back, this squeezing of the lower back. As long as that's manageable and you can breathe and it's not too strong, you stay here and you breathe. On the other side of that, if it's not enough, you walk one hand in and then the other. Now, importantly, make sure this stays slightly toned. We don't want to lose the abdomen here. We want to keep it supporting your lower back. So same action, elbows rolling forwards, shoulders drawing down. No need to worry about lifting the head too much. Just keep the neck nice and neutral. We'll bring all our attention on the lower back. Okay, and then exhaling, come down. Now, last back bend then, this is called Ustrasana, the camel pose. Now, this, for some people, is quite a deep back bend. So, I'll give you a couple of options, all right? If you just watch me before you do it, especially if you're unsure at all, watch me first and then we'll all do it together. So, firstly, you're on your knees, hips are above the knees, and ideally, the top of the feet are on the mat. But eventually we want to try to grab the heels. So by tucking the toes under, it brings the heels a little bit higher, which is okay. So you find which way you want to place the feet, which way feels most comfortable. Now starting here then with the thumbs or the hands supporting your lower back, we want to get a lot of what we've done already. We want to get the shoulders moving back and the shoulder blades drawing down the back. The heart lifting as you inhale. So all of that is done already. We're not really in a back bend yet, we're just preparing. But what we're going to try to do is using the hands, we're going to try to push the hips forwards. We're going to try to push the hips forwards and lift the chest up. Elbows in. Hips forwards, lift the chest, elbows in. Now, this might feel so strong already that you can't really breathe. Just come a little bit less and hold there. On the other hand, some of you will be able to grab your heels, and then it's about pushing the hips forwards, lifting the chest up, keeping the chin into the chest, or if you're really comfortable, releasing the head back. Come out the same way you came in. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. And really, just be smart about this. Okay, if it feels too much, it's too much. If it feels okay, keep going. See where you get to. So we'll do 2 rounds together. Hands on lower back, feet strong. Inhale, lift your chest, shoulders, elbows back, and then see about the hips moving forwards. And if you can get the hips moving forwards, pretty likely you'll be able to grab your feet. If the hips feel stuck, that might be where you're up to. Press the hips forward, lift the chest up. We stay for 2 more breaths. We won't stay long. And then inhale to come up. And then exhale to sit down onto your heels for a moment. So if we're starting with everything stacked up, knees, hips, chest, shoulders, what we're going to try to do is, obviously the knees aren't going to move, but in terms of the balance, the more we can push the hips forwards, and the more the upper body can move back. Okay? If the hips don't move, then you won't be able to tip the chest and the shoulders back. So we have to get the hips moving forwards, and then this bit can move back. Hopefully that makes sense. One more time then. Last strong pose of the practice. Use your arms, use your hands for support. Lift the chest. Very important, you maintain long spine. Hips forward, keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting, and then maybe your hands can catch your heels. Hips forwards, chest up, strong legs. 3, 2, and then come up. Come up with control. Take your time, sit down onto your heels. Now, we've just been in 2 fairly deep back bends. So as you walk forwards into child's pose, bear in mind that your lower back is now moving into flexion. So it's moving into a forward bend. So proceed quite slowly. Maybe a little bit side to side with the hips. Stretch the body long, and then try to relax down. So arms, elbows, forehead maybe to the mat, or maybe the block goes under the forehead so that the head and the neck are supported. Get nice and quiet. Use this child's pose, get quiet. Let the mind settle, let the breath settle. Okay, and then slowly come back up. Now, sitting on your heels then, or maybe you need the block underneath there, should be all right, roughly. Sitting on your heels, have your knees nice and wide, about as wide as the mat. And place your left hand out in front, so there's a triangle, the knees and the palm of the left hand. Okay? Right hand, fingertips pointing down on your lower back, sort of the line of the elastic of your trousers or shorts. So we want to encourage the tailbone, the back of the pelvis to go down. Then we want to try to inhale and lift up the chest without arching the back. So tailbone down, lift your chest, and then just turn the shoulders. Turn the shoulders to the right. You can look over your right shoulder or you can look towards your left hand. Just something comfortable for the neck. You can be sort of somewhere in between. Keep the tailbone down, keep the chest lifted. Turn the shoulders. Fairly mild twist, but it sort of serves the whole spine. And then come back. Okay, nice and simple to switch sides then. Right hand replaces the left. Left hand replaces the right. So that same action in the lumbar and the lower back. Tailbone down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, turn. And then come back to the front. And just lie down onto your back. Stretch the legs out, lie down onto your back. And just before you take a rest, just before we sort of finish up the practice, just take both knees. You can hold the knees with your hands if you like, or you can grab your opposite elbows if you like. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Very gentle massage in the lower back. You know, we do this every week, and it's another one of these things, you find what suits you. Side to side, or little circles, or you know, if you know what you're doing, maybe you need a slightly different posture right now. Learn about your body, what your body needs, and that's really what this bit's about. Well, it's what the whole bit's about, I suppose. Anyway, once you're set, once you're ready, you stretch your legs out. Outwardly rotate the thigh bones so that the feet turn out. Outwardly rotate the arm bones so the palms face up. Shoulders are heavy on the mat. Hips are heavy on the mat. Close your eyes. And take a couple of minutes to rest. And so very slowly, you know what you're doing, slowly take your time. Just a short Shavasana, so shouldn't be too much, just to start to move a little bit. Take a stretch if you wish, bend the knees. Turn to your side, and then importantly, make sure it's your arms that pick you up rather than relying on your back. Anyway, rolling onto your side and coming up to sit. Start or you finish just how you started, so a nice, comfortable, seated posture. Hopefully everything feels a little bit lighter now. The same kind of actions, if we can just take a moment just to draw the shoulders, shoulder blades moving down the back, heart lifting. The heavy, the sort of weightedness in the legs, that feeling of being supported. But this after space, this after practice space is important. This is an important state to cultivate. This feeling right now, lightness, the feeling of being at ease. Rather than life being a continuous fight. More like a feeling of being at ease. Things are okay. Particularly relevant at the moment. It's not how we imagine it. But for me, on my yoga mat right now, actually things are all right. Things are okay. Hands at your heart center. Hands at your heart center, this posture with the hands is a sign of devotion or trust. And then take a nice full breath in. Okay. Thanks everybody. Namaste. Oh, I feel better for that. Okay, you take your time, whatever you're doing as you go through the day. If you're leaving now, have a good day. Enjoy the sunny weather we're about to embark on. And hopefully see you all next week.